Let's look at some tips on storytelling. Now, any good story begins with the important stage of story writing. Well, with any story, you always want a beginning. You do want a middle. And you always want to have an end. Thinking about this, I got to brainstorming some ways that I could share with you to help you understand about how to write stories that are captivating to your audience. So I thought about the nursery rhyme of Humpty Dumpty. Well, I created a sketch here for you to see Humpty Dumpty. So the first thing is, if you've never heard the nursery rhyme, it goes, Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty together again. So I came up with a sketch here to communicate how to write a good story. So here we have Humpty Dumpty on a wall. Awesome. Then we have Humpty Dumpty fallen off the wall. He's already fallen and he's cracked up a bit. And the third panel here, I have all the king's men and all the king's horses. I'm sure the king had many more, but I only drew a few. They're all looking at Humpty Dumpty and they're at a loss on how to fix Humpty Dumpty. And then the story ends. I have a little sad face there because I got to thinking about this nursery rhyme, this little short story, and it makes me sad. I like happy endings. So I got to thinking about how could I change the story slightly at the end to have a better solution to the problem that we see before us. So I'm just going to explain a few things here. First thing is we notice in the beginning we have Humpty Dumpty. So we have the introduction of a character and we have the introduction of a problem that is about to happen, all right, or at least the drama that's about to happen. And you can see that Humpty Dumpty is on the wall, and that should bring a little bit of drama to our lives because Humpty Dumpty could fall off that wall. Very dangerous. And guess what? He falls off the wall. Now we have a problem. You know, first we had the introduction of the character, and then we have the drama. Now we have a problem. Humpty Dumpty is broken. Now that's the introduction of the problem. How do we fix the problem? All right, so that's the introduction of the second part of a story, or the middle, and that is the problem. So now we have the introduction of the problem. Humpty Dumpty is broken. How do we fix it? How do we go about fixing Humpty Dumpty? Well, the king sent along his men and his horses to see how they could fix the problem. So now we have the resolution, or the lack of resolution here, because the king sent his men and his horses and they are at a loss. They don't know what to do with Humpty Dumpty. And sadly, the story ends. Doesn't really give you any good resolution or solution to the overall problem here. So I got to thinking, how could I fix this story and make it a better ending? So that way there is a resolution to the problem that we see before us. So what I did is I added a few things. So I got to thinking about Humpty Dumpty and how he is broken. And when I have broken things, I use something called glue. So I got to thinking, wonder if somebody was very clever back during the medieval times where kings and knights and armored horses lived, that a convenience store opened up, or a glue store. Now it creates a different direction to our story. So now we have a possible solution to our problem. So you probably have already guessed it. The knights went out with their horses and they purchased some glue at Glue R Us. And now because that happened, they were able to put back Humpty Dumpty back together again. And now we have here, also adding to the story, we have all the characters that we were introduced to happy because they resolved the problem. Even Humpty Dumpty is happy. And that is where the story has a happy ending. So let's recap on what we just learned. Every good story needs to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. In the beginning, the characters and the problem are introduced. In the middle, the characters try to fix the problem, but face challenges that prevent them from fixing or overcoming the problem. The end, the characters find a way to overcome or fix the problem. Follow these tips, and your story writing will be more effective, and your storytelling will grab the attention of everyone. So I'm excited to share with you something called a story starter. I use this with my students when making comics, but this will also help with creating a great story. So these are all little helpful ideas for you to get your story started. I also have a story map that you can download and to fill out. For example, up here at the top, what's your title? Typically, the title may come after your story is completed. All right, characters, who's in the story? So again, you can fill those pieces out there. What is the problem? Remember, any good story has a problem. What is the problem of your story? What is the cause of the problem? That's very helpful too in a story. These little boxes here allow you to put in order the events that play out in your story to allow your characters to try to find ways to fixing the problem. And of course, at the end, how is the problem solved? Oh yeah, I have one more thing, because check this out. How a story develops. It's made like a sandwich. All right, so you have the top part of the bun, you have the middle, all the great ingredients, and then of course you have at the very bottom, you have the bottom part of the sandwich. So the very top, which is your top part of the bun, that's the beginning. It introduces your main characters and sets up your story problem. Then the middle, where all the cheese and the tomatoes and all the other good stuff, that's the middle. That shows your character tackling the problem. How does your characters, try to find ways to resolve the problem? And then of course you have the bottom part, an ending that resolves the problem. So that is what I have for you today. I would love to see the stories that you write. I truly believe you are the storytellers of the future, and they are going to be amazing. Till next time, keep writing, keep drawing, and keep being great.